Uh, Hello. No, I have not made a video for a while, and these glasses are my wife's, but I look good. This is a Schumer look. This is what happens when I have them on. That reflection is pretty cool. Infinite reflection. So I want to try to keep my head up, and I want to keep my head positive. Now, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is the state of the world as I see it. Now, the things you need to know about me is I've been a stay-at-home dad for almost 5 years, and I watched from my perspective of being very engaged in the political climate because I was worried when Trump got elected, that immediately people were saying they're going to punch Nazis, even if they don't know. Like, it became very antagonistic to people that didn't agree with them. Now, I didn't agree with them, so I pushed back because it was important for me to let people know that you know who I am, and you know my personality, and you know it's good or bad, wherever you perceive of it. But it didn't align with the narrative that was going on in the world in terms of all Trump supporters, all deplorables, all that stuff. Whatever. That doesn't matter. The point is, like, I've literally been keyed in. They started RussiaGate 19 minutes after Trump became president. So I was a skeptical, and I've told people for the years, like, if they had started 2 weeks later, I would be in a completely different position because I'd be like, oh wow, they discovered this, wow, But they started this process, crossfire hurricane immediately, and therefore I was distrustful. Now, the reason I bring up my distrust is because there was Ukraine, there's the impeachment, there's all these things that Kavanaugh, where politicians were using information to manipulate the the hearts of the people. Because it's about hearts and minds. They couldn't impeach Trump unless every single person in the country were like, yeah, he sucks. We gotta get rid of him, because then the court of public opinion would have risen to the courts and la da 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 da. And I'm wrong on that, but I made a video about that in the past. Unfortunately, I don't want to clarify it right now because I kind of need to move forward. So, like, right now, we're living in quarantine, and we've accepted it. People like myself who have a family, like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. There's not really places to go, so don't. There's nothing really to boycott. There's nothing to fight. That's an idea. What I also do is I don't report the news. I report sentiment. But in this video, I have to report the idea of sentiment. And I'm so sorry I'm meandering. I only have 16 subscribers. So, nah, cha-ching, whatever. But this quarantine and this virus, I just was watching news from India. I was watching news from Italy. I was watching news from Zimbabwe. I was watching news from Australia. One of the most disturbing features of my research was that one of the Italian doctors said that if a person has COVID-19 but dies in a car crash, then it says they die of COVID-19. Now, this person used the idea of cancer, but the doctor also said, well, yeah, we have to get our numbers up. Now, what does numbers up mean? Numbers up means that they need to have a verifiable proof that there is a disaster, therefore they can receive money. Now, yes, verifiable, you receive money, right? It's as simple as that. Because if you say, hey, I need, I need, Kennedy Center joke, hey, I need $25 million because all my artists are going to, be broke. And that's a horrible example, but hey, I'm the Kennedy Center. I need $25 million because pianos cost this much and they've all been destroyed by COVID-19. I'm not making clear sense, but then they're like, okay, well, and then they say these are the pianos that got busted, and then they get the money. But if they say we have all these pianos, and they're like, well, show us pictures, they're like, well, we don't really, and then they don't get the money. Oh God, that was bad. I apologize. Um, what I'm saying is that the Democrats say, and I'm sure actually every politician says this, like I do have a bent towards not liking the Democrats because of what they've done to this country. It's been disgusting because they haven't actually what they've done it for themselves, and the result harms the country. And it's just a point of order. I've gone through the stages of quarantine. I've gone through sadness. I've gone through fear. I've gone through anger. And right now, where I'm at is a point of peace. Like my wife works her ass off, so she's like now just like kind of like bringing herself in. She's teaching the kid homeschool. Kids are fine. My friends they're not sleeping. I mean, like I'm a drinker. I'd even say an alcoholic, but I actually understand the way it works. And because of this quarantine, I've stopped drinking because it's like I actually want my wits about me. Before, just like hunky dory moving through life. My future perspective of what's going to be happening in the now, when they look at it in the future, is they're going to be opening the book and saying that we were at war. We are at a positive war with the CCP. Because we're not at war with people, we're at war with an idea that is formed into an institution. And I believe that the Communist Community Party, Chinese Communist Party, with interests in deep pockets, have infiltrated all aspects of American society because of capitalism, because of money. For example, the Harvard professors that were arrested because they were selling private material created in Harvard to China for profit. Mike Pompeo, when he was speaking to the governors, was saying like we have the list of all the governors that have received money from China. You know, it's like it's an economic war, but they've changed the rules because the economic war, like they just buy everything up. It's like monopoly. And to be honest, I thought that's how it was gonna play out. I thought eventually like foreign countries would just own everything in America and just decide we're gonna close it. You know, that's literally how I thought it was gonna go down. I mean, floods and hurricanes, all that stuff. Yeah, they happen, but I really thought the economic structure was gonna go down because the full like everyone like you can just sure buy it. Yeah, I'll give you $1 billion for that flat. I know I'm using British terms for that apartment, but no. I mean the supply lines in terms of vaccines in China is like selling faulty Medicaid, not faulty masks, faulty ventilators. Like they were shorting the Australian markets. Like they're playing a game, and we are at war. Like the thing is, like I don't because no one's really been watching. I've been talking about China for 4 years, but because now, like the problem is that right now, truth is so much harder than the fiction. The coronavirus, stay at home, chill, is so much more powerful. Not powerful. So much more acquiescentary. So much more passive-eyeing. The effect of making a populace passive, mollifying, is better than like no, we're actually they actually released this virus and they didn't know anything. They didn't tell anybody, and it's just spread across the world. And yet they control so much of their medical supplies, and they're selling. And it's like mean, it's not. See, the thing for me, like, it's not a, well, it's a horrible thing, but like in terms of tacticians, a lot of chess, a lot of like stashing, it's a great move. Like, you suck all the resources, you release something that they need. It's like it's like starting a fire just so you can sell water buckets. And then, because you want that building burned down, you put leaks in the water buckets. And that's it. That is it. That is the whole thing. That is their strategy for war. Start a fire, sell water buckets, and put leaks in those water buckets. Not only are you still going to get those water buckets, but it's also not going to help that much to put out the fire. It's a brilliant strategy. It's brilliant. But the other part of it, who is in control in that type of situation? Now, as it stands now, nobody's really in control of it because it is a pandemic. It is something that now everyone is individually focusing on. It's been something in the States. Everyone's been individually focusing on aspects and like how this hospital here, but this state doesn't need this and this needs this. So how we can allocate resources? It's like this. Okay. Nancy Pelosi, COVID. I'm touching my face. Sorry. Nancy Pelosi, when Donald Trump was like, I might use the protective the distribution, you know what I'm talking about, Distribution Process Act, where you can like just take control. He did it with GM. It is a power of authoritarian control. And that was the first time Nancy Pelosi was like, do it. Now, here's the crazy theory, which if you're sitting here, man, you must be a family member or glutton for punishment. So, Barack Obama, okay? I think the day he became president, got the Nobel Peace Prize because he was the first black president. He also, I don't know the timeline on this, but then he also became the president of the UN. And people at the time were like, how can you be the president of the UN and the president? But that got no one really talking about it. You know, I was like, what? No, cool. So, here's the thing. If Hillary Clinton, I know, I apologize. Here's the thing. Hillary Clinton, she would have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize. Because she's the first woman. I mean, she already has a Pulitzer and a Grammy. Then she'd be in charge of the UN because just based on Barack Obama's deal, I mean, because America's still a powerful superpower, why not? One of the things about smart people and rich people is they are not dumb. They plan. I myself have a 10-year plan. Well, actually, I just reached my 10-year plan. It was to be quarantined. I mean, no, with kids and wife and family, and I'm very happy. But people have plans. You know, they needed a Democrat or they needed a person down with the cause to be in power now, so that they can coalesce all the power. But then we pull the strings back, and there's NAFTA. There's all these policies that were going to stitch the world together so that the corporations and people with money had power. So all our politicians are linked into, you know, PACs and private entities that give money. So then there's pay for play. Let me get this deal. Washington. And at the very top of that is like, well, if we can lock everything down and then say we need to control everything, now we control distribution. I mean, the funny thing, now that I'm now that I'm talking it out, the reason I'll again do this is just to get it out of my brain, is they're actually kind of thinking about another form of socialism wherein they just control everything. And I think maybe that's communism or authoritarianism. And lovely family, yes? Socks? Okay. Get some socks. It's a long video anyway. I'm just talking about the conspiracies of the now. Are you going for a walk?
Yes.
That was a great little interlude for the video. So, if you made it to the 15-minute mark, you just saw how I react when I'm interrupted. I don't. But she needed socks, and they're going for a walk because it's a beautiful day. I also lost my train of thought, which you probably experienced multiple times through this video. Let me see if I can call it all back. So, the best laid plans are the ones that take time. And if you consolidate control of medical equipment, develop drugs, or diseases, Bill Gates said that could be possible, which smart guy. If you economically entangle yourself with politicians around the globe, in the sense where you give them money, and therefore now they're emotionally entitled to entangled in protecting themselves, like the Harvard professors, or Dianne Feinstein's driver, who was a Chinese double agent, look it up, for 10 years. If you bring that also with the idea that powers want to power, America, for example, the fuck, we were bombing all these countries, take over, and, it's like, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that America is not trying to take stuff over, and I do not like that either. But that means I must allow that every other country, every other leader must want to be like, yo, if I were the man, if our country were the financial hub, man, if our country, were a transportation hub, man, oh man, we can take. It's like I understand. Chinese, I think, and Japan have been building islands in the Pacific. I'm sorry about in the Pacific, because the land boundaries extend. I think maybe I want to say like a kilometer off of water, 2 kilometers. So they're building islands. Like, this is our island, so therefore we extend as another, and they're squeezing in trade in the Pacific Sea. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like are constantly in a state of, it's not risk because it's not war. It's like, it's not monopoly. It's like monopoly and risk and stratego and chess all combined. That is the world. I've solved it. I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like I see like, and it ties back into our old political system of corruption, like Joe Biden in the Ukraine, Hillary Clinton with the Clinton Foundation. Why is Angelina Jolie and Madonna bringing all these kids? Sorry, I had to give that one. Why is the royalty hanging out with Epstein? Why did Epstein kill himself? Because he definitely killed himself. And if you don't think he killed himself, then you literally have reached almost 20 minutes of me ranting, which is impressive. And if you have, just say Epstein will totally kill himself. Say he totally. I mean, I saw it. I was there. I saw him do it. So, my point is, I'm going to try to summate 20 minutes, Jesus. They've placed a plan in motion with tests, with bots, with intelligence campaigns. They placed an idea in motion. And because it was a worldwide organization, they continued. It was America's job to switch up who was in control when we received this message about the coronavirus. Because I think that if Clinton were in office, this would be a different story. I mean, de Blasio was saying a week before, like, no, go out, hang out. I encourage you to do that. That was March, what? No, April, like, 23rd or something in New York City. Mayor, like, what are you doing, man? Like, it's a perfect super disease where it's not going to take everybody, but it's a shell. They had a plan. They kept it in place. Each player had to work their case to make sure everything worked. America failed at that plan because Donald Trump challenged everything and remains president, which is wild. I mean, not wild in a bad way. Wild. It's like, what? Right now? Oh my God. They're going to give him so much money. Look, can you literally just tell me a story? Like, that'll be $1 million. You want to make a movie? So, I'll summate. Where we're at. We are in an imposed lockdown based on what I believe is our government attempting to literally flatten the curve, because if we're locked down and isolated, then it's easier to track. I think that we are definitely attacked by the CCP, not the Chinese people, maybe not in the Chinese government. And I think COVID is the easiest way to say stay calm. We're all going to get through this. They are building medical tents in Central Park, and they have the Mercy or the Hope, something, next, parked in the harbor. Mario Cuomo said, steamed into the harbor. Or did Blasio? One of them said it. I think it was Cuomo. Steam. Motherfucker, that's not a steamship. What the fuck, dude? It's not a steamship. Anyway. Where are those ventilators? We need more. You have them. Yeah, right. I mean, yes. We stored them. Oh, man. Hospitals are actually empty. Nurses are saying it's not that bad. And people fear death. That's another thing I don't fear is death. I mean, I fear like getting hurt real bad. I mean, I don't even like getting sick. So here's the deal, folks. Why am I calm? Why am I not losing my mind running through the streets saying it's all a lie? It's because I see movements and trends, not in the mainstream media, but through people that are on the ground in different places that do YouTube videos such as this, just like talking, whatevs. And I'm not seeing the same tone. Like, just for another example, I'm sorry, God, 24 minutes, whatever. Like, when the Antifa riots in Portland broke out, I spent maybe like 3 days watching all angles of footage, okay? And it was a piece of theater. There were players, there were movements, there were sides. And the funny thing, and maybe this is where I'll end. I'm gonna try to end. Maybe I'll do more later. But the funny thing is, like, what the theater was in order to create incitement, in order to create a fight. Here's understand, they were creating an environment of a fight. They were there, and then they marched in, and the cops were like, "Oh, hands off." It's like they were creating the image of a fight, but the only players were characters. Were characters like the club guy, the ATV girl. Like, they were all characters that were continuing. Like, in the if you care, if you literally made it here, if you care, the highlight of this proof is when you look at, I think, the moment when the garbage dumpster gets thrown back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because there's a controlled theatrical. You don't understand. Like, when you move something on stage, when you move a garbage can, it's not even on stage. When you move a garbage can and you just push it, it's gonna go in all kinds of ways. So you have to control the way it goes. And then the way people moved around it, it was like a dance. It was like a dance. And then you look at all the main characters. It was so. What I'm saying is, like, this is they've actually kind of won with locking us all down, but they haven't won because all the deals, Paris Climate Accord, NAFTA, like, all the deals have not allowed the UN climate. They haven't allowed the UN to say, "Hey, we'll take care of it. Hillary Clinton's in charge. Barack Obama's in charge. We'll take care of it." You know what? Here's the end. I've been on colleges. I've been in lots of different types of rooms. I've met a lot of people in my 40 years. I'm almost 40. I will be. Optimism. I will be 40. And more. Shit. I'll be all the ages until the ages are done. For me. But I met a lot of people, and I just feel like we are gonna. I mean, we've been to the parties. I'm sorry, I lost my point. I'm not gonna lie, I lost my point for a second, but I had it. Okay, I met a lot of people, and I've been to a lot of parties, lots of different rooms, and you sometimes you open a door and you see something you don't want to see, or not don't want to see, but, like, shouldn't be seeing. Shouldn't be seeing. In my case, it's never been like. It's been illicit, but not illegal. It's like I've never walked in. Walked in a room like threesomes. I walked into rooms. Looking for weed. Sorry. I mean, I've walked into frats. Like, I know the way organizations work. I'll leave it here. I think that it's gonna be all fine. I really do. My concern is for the human cost of people who don't work right now. I don't care about people getting sick. I'm talking about the people who don't have any money. I mean, de Blasio's not even talking about the homeless, and they're like, "Oh, I mean, he did today. That's fair. I researched it, but we're living in, like, a kind of fake reality created by the media." I mean, wow. You know what? It's almost 30 minutes. I believe that you've listened to me ramble long enough. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. say stay safe, eat food, and sleep. Peace.